Daryl, speaking of PHP, does Dart support variables? Yes, it's called dynamic. It's called dynamic.
Stay away from those.
No, I mean,
a variable contains B, and you want to look at B.
So yeah, we do have variable types, and it's called dynamic, and you basically just use the word dynamic instead of your type. It does mean that there's type checking involved around that, and it's normally it was obviously slowed down. The reason why PHP is dynamic everywhere, and the reason why PHP is considered slow by some is because of that dynamic type checking it has to do on everything, or at least type inference it has to do, right? And it's the reason why JavaScript also has problems around this, is because, like, comparing a blank array to 0 is true in JavaScript, right? They're completely different objects, disparate types, but it is true because it infers that a blank array has 0 length, therefore 0 is 0, and it's true. So it's normally frowned upon when you want to do strict typing to make sure that you don't have bugs. And they also, sorry, I want to mention that dynamic typing is runtime. Right? Basically means that you will find bugs only when you run that line of code, right? Whereas when you use strict types up front, it's the compiler up front and the analysis server that is going to tell you it can't work like that, right? Because it's not supported. Whereas dynamic is just, when you run it, it will say it's the wrong type and crash, right? Like, or whatever you're trying to do. So yeah, I would.
And languages like PHP and Perl and Python have a very close relationship between the programmer namespace and the value namespace, where Dart doesn't. Dart's value namespace is completely separate from the programmer namespace, and that's why Dart doesn't do that.
Also, there is especially one big article. I don't know where it is at the moment, and we're running out of time, but look up the difference between dynamic and object, because there is an article that is very good. It states very clearly, never use dynamic if you can avoid it, and instead use object, because object will give you the flexibility you're looking for, but object is a type. Dynamic under the hood is not a type, which means you can have all kind of crazy stuff go wrong that object would catch.
You can still have the same type problems with object, like that. Just the idea of just doing I'm just saying,
and perhaps object question mark too.
The nice thing about the nice thing about using object is that if you want to access anything from it, you have to do a type check first. You literally have to say, is this whatever it is, the variable is this type, then do something, right? And
and the thing though is dynamic. Can you do an is on a dynamic at all, because a dynamic is not a type?
No, you can. And it'll examine the type from within the dynamic, right? That's not a problem. The point is, you don't have to access a dynamic, right? It won't be a compile fault to literally just do dot and then any function. It will just accept it and compile it, and then when it comes to the line to run the function on the variable, it will be like, this function is a int. This variable is an int. It doesn't have the function, whatever it is, right? So
app crashes, user uninstalls, you lose revenue.